Happy Wednesday and welcome into the PHNX Sun Devils show presented by Neutral. Keep it tasty, Tempe. Welcome into the PHNX Sun Devils show yet again. Coming to you live,
You're back.
of course, from Studio K, presented by Circle K. Join Inner Circle for free by downloading that Circle K app today. Terms and conditions apply at participating locations. Visit CircleK.com for details. I am Anthony Totri, back from the dead, of course, joined by the man holding down the ship, Erik Ruby. Of course, we have the captain of that beautiful vessel. Of course, Captain Redbeard behind the Mac, making all of the magic happen. Do us a solid, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, drop a 5-star review wherever you get your podcast. Already got BC Clinton here throwing up the forks up. We got a lot to get into today. Of course, Arizona State back in action, back at practice ahead of the Peach Bowl. We're still about 2 weeks away.
It's too far away.
It is.
It's way too far away.
It is. What, 13 days?
That's
13,
a long
14
time.
days at
That's
this
a
point
long time.
before you see Arizona State take on either Texas or Clemson in the Peach Bowl. Of course, if you don't know, we will be doing a live watch along on Saturday for that game. So definitely stick around for that. Also going to be doing a post-game show. Help ASU fans get acclimated with whoever you are going to see, whether it be Clemson or Texas. Also got an ASU basketball game that day as well. So we'll definitely hit on that during that PHNX Sun Devils post-game show as well. Got Joe here. We're going to be talking about Sam Leavitt, Kenny Dillingham, some transfer portal updates, and so much more. So grab a snack, grab a drink, and get ready because we are talking Sun Devil football. Erik, first and foremost, thanks for holding down the fort, man.
Yeah, man. Yesterday was an interesting day. When I had Ralph on 2 days ago, it was fine. It was a good time. It's always a good time with Ralph. Yesterday, planning like 25% of your show around something that completely changes 2 minutes into the show, was definitely something else. But we live, we survive. I'm happy to have you back. Let's get into some ball.
I mean, Arizona State wouldn't be at this point without, of course, Sam Leavitt. Redshirt freshman quarterback who has just been a monster really this entire season. But it's something that we saw in the spring. It's something that we saw in fall ball, that the talent was always there for this kid, right?
Yeah.
You just needed to kind of hone it in a little bit. You needed to have almost the perfect mix of a head coach, an offensive-minded head coach, and then to have a guy like Marcus Arroyo who isn't afraid to paint in the war zone a little bit, right? And that's what he's been able to do. He's been able to put together an offense that really does help the quarterback. It's a quarterback-friendly offense. We know what it's done for Cam Scatterbo and some of the weapons here, but Sam has been remarkable, especially in the back half of this season.
Well, you mentioned from like kind of what we thought of him when he first committed here. I went back yesterday. I showed everybody sound from my interview with Javen Robinson. The title of that episode was Cincinnati defensive lineman Justin Watley and Michigan State transfer Sam Leavitt, looking to make an impact on the Sun Devils, mm-hmm. right? And I went back and I listened to some of our conversation. I mean, when he came in here, we're like, okay, he's going to compete with Rashada. What does this mean for Rashada? But it was by no means like, hey, Sun Devils, this is your guy.
This is the guy.
This is the guy who's going to lead you. There wasn't even a like, hey, this is your for sure starting quarterback. As soon as you even get into fall camp, right, and Camp T and everything like that, it was Sims and Leavitt, right? So when you think about the rise for this guy, mm-hmm. to be now where we consider him a top 10 quarterback in college football, we'll get to this later, but a Heisman candidate for next year, somebody who is, along with Cam Scatterbo, the heart and soul of this team and is powering it to the college football playoffs. Mm-hmm. I mean, just as much credit as you give Arizona State as a whole, individually for Sam Leavitt.
Yeah.
This guy deserves the world of respect.
He really does. And it's for me, it's been like, it's one thing to play the way that he's played over the last, couple months. But just where do you think he has grown the most? Because he hasn't been given that respect.
I have an answer.
He's earned it, right?
I think where he's grown the most legitimately is his accuracy. I mean, the only reason why it was a conversation between Leavitt and Sims was because Leavitt's arm was like too strong.
Yeah.
He did not have all that reined in.
He is a cannon of an arm.
And even in the first couple of games, you didn't see him connect on a deep shot to anybody. His mid-range game was not that great. Like, he was overshooting players. And even in practice, too, it was like a consistent problem. He has incredible touch. I mean, some of these deep balls that he's been throwing have been spot on, right on the money, even in the intermediate throws as well. Like, he really has become a full-fledged passing threat, whether it's just a screen in the short range or if it's just a quick check down over the middle, right? Like, whatever it is, he's able to now deliver that and deliver it pretty consistently to the point where I feel like I have seen more, and this is not like me taking shots at the wide receivers or the tight ends, but like I've seen more drops on good balls than I have seen bad balls
overshots
thrown, right? And that is something where going into the season, I would have easily put money on that to be reversed. And there hasn't been a lot of really big drops, right? So his accuracy has been incredible, and I think the thing that caught me by surprise most has been his awareness, especially moving outside of the pocket, and his ability to decipher when to run and when not to run and deliver that strike. It's been like he's a junior or a senior quarterback in certain points. Like, it's really impressive.
Right. He has played of a quarterback with a lot more experience than maybe a redshirt freshman would initially lead you to believe. Somebody in the chat, who would you rather see between Clemson and Texas? We'll definitely get to that a little bit later on in the show. Another comment, once he got the timing down, the timing has been a big thing, right? And part of that's chemistry, right? It's so easy to sit on the outside and just pick apart a quarterback and be like, oh, well, they're young and they're inexperienced and they're not hitting their guys, right? Well, a big part of that is just playing with those guys. How often do we talk about that when we talk about ASU basketball, right? Where you need to have chemistry, you need to have synergy. And in all honesty, the synergy and the chemistry for Arizona State's offense has grown, it feels like, game over game when it comes to what Sam Leavitt has been able to do. So I do want to have everybody here take a look at what Sam Leavitt did the first 6 games of the season versus the last 6 games of the season, because it is pretty remarkable the turnaround here.
That's insane.
In the first 6 games of the season that Sam Leavitt played, threw for 1,166 yards, 8 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, at a QBR of a 135.8. And in all honesty, that's not bad. Those are game managing numbers, right? Especially when you have
that's a redshirt freshman quarterback playing about as good as you could expect a redshirt freshman quarterback who's not coming from like the lineage that some of these quarterbacks come from, where you're expected to be like a top 10 draft pick, right? There was no expectations on this kid to do that. Like, that's a good stat line for what we expected and what we needed from him.
It is. And look what he's done in the back half, right? 6 games played, 1,278 yards, 13 touchdowns to just 1 interception, a QBR of 176.5. The chemistry, the ability to go through his progressions, read a defense, and then for me, the biggest thing is to be able to take care of that football, right? That's a big thing that Kenny Dillingham harped on in the offseason, Marcus Arroyo, what it does for an offense to be able to have possessions that, hey, even if it doesn't end with points, not giving opposing teams short fields. And how do you avoid that? Well, you don't turn it over, right? You may have to settle and punt. You may have to settle for field goals. You may opt to go for it, but not turning the football over, right? 13 touchdowns to 1 interception in the back half of this season, the last 6 games. And in 6 games where Arizona State was playing for their lives in every single one of those games, right? Like, that's another piece of this that doesn't show up on the stat sheet. And this is, again, I don't want this to be just, oh, the numbers are crazy, right? Because yes, the numbers have certainly improved, not to say that they were bad at the start of the season, but just watching him, he looks more comfortable in this offense. And to be able to have an offensive coordinator in Marcus Arroyo that you've locked up for a couple of seasons, what that does for Sam Leavitt's confidence going into next season, potentially the year after that, like, it's absolutely remarkable. And we'll get to the question, that really is going to steer this show is, how deep can Sam Leavitt and Kenny Dillingham take this team in the college football playoff? But just to see those numbers, what's the first thing that jumps out to you?
The first thing that jumps out to me is the decreased interceptions. I didn't even think that he was making a ton of mistakes in the first half of the season.
Only 5 INTs all year.
To have your sole interception the last 6 games of the season come against BYU, right? Which would probably be considered one of your not great as far as the final 6 go, 16 to 25. You still put up 247 yards, a touchdown, and interception, right? Only 8 rushing yards that game, which I think is a massive part of his game. When I look at those stats, I just see somebody, and you kind of hit it as well, where constantly improving, constantly getting better. And that's something that I've seen from this team in general, but a lot of times the head of the snake leads that.
Yeah.
And Sam Leavitt and Camp Scadaboo are the head of the snake. I think both of them have gotten better as the season's gone on. I think another thing I really want to hone in on when it comes to chemistry, what you were saying after the Big 12 championship, at the media availability at the podium, you weren't there, but because you were just, doing your thing out on the field. But one of the answers that X gave, Xavier Guillory, that kind of wasn't talked about as much. I know we didn't show it on our show because it wasn't like a crazy quote. But he's like, man, I have been working with Sam since the moment he got here, just throwing the ball back and forth, getting each other's cadences down, putting in that type of work. And then you see it pay off in the Big 12 championship game when X is your wide receiver 1 and you need him. Like, it felt like they've been connecting like that all season.
Yeah.
Right? And sure, he had his 2 security blankets in Jordan Tyson and Shaman Matire. But as soon as Jordan Tyson went down and as soon as Shaman couldn't be just the accessory and was kind of the focus, he immediately shifted to multiple other wide receivers where it felt like he had chemistry with it. Like, for a young quarterback, for a team full of transfers as well, it's really, truly impressive, and it gets you excited to imagine not just going forward, right, where you have a month off to prep for the Peach Bowl, and hopefully you continue to play more games after that. But then you go into the offseason, right, with a quarterback who very clearly shares the mindset of, I'm going to get better, I'm going to work with my team, right? You have a returning Jordan Tyson. You have hopefully some receiving options. I know Shaman Matire is coming back. Hopefully you can still get a couple more of your receivers. Xavier Guillory's gone. But there are going to be weapons for him to work with.
Malik McClain.
Yeah, exactly. You're going to be weapons he's going to be able to work with, over this spring ball and the summer period and fall camp. And then you start to think to yourself, the sky is the limit for this guy. It
really is.
I mean, I don't even think top 10, top 5 draft pick is insane. And if you went to a year ago, which that conversation that we had about Sam Leavitt transferring was December 11th of last year. We're talking about this guy this way now, and he had to earn it. There were no expectations. There's no just, hey, you're going to get it. No, he had to scrap and claw for that recognition, and he got it.
Yeah.
And that is wildly impressive.
And that's, again, the big thing that I want to emphasize here is he's earned this. Right. And all the fans that watching him, we've got somebody in the chat asking about how much, his maturity has shown and grown over the season. I mean, we talked to Kenny about it.
We talked to Scat about it,
how much
too.
have you seen this kid mature? And that's not something that's easy to do. Again, it's really easy for us and other people to sit here and be like, you know what, this kid, he's played out of his mind, blah, 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 blah. But it's another thing to come to a new place in a new city, in a new program. Think about it on a human level. Right? If you were somebody that uprooted your entire life and moved somewhere to start a new job, and you were immediately in that position, you're the guy, right? You have to be the guy, right?
So, and he acted like the guy.
And you acted like the guy when you haven't been doing it all that long at this level, and to be able to go into that place, have an alpha attitude like you already do, and then earn that respect while also being able to manage the personalities. Because that's something that we don't talk about a lot, that a lot of people don't talk about when you talk about the inner workings of just sports in general, right? Is attitudes, personalities, and how this all functions together, right? You can want to have chemistry, you can want to be a leader, but if the team's not behind you, then they're not going to be behind you.
No, and you have to earn that as well. I mean, Cam said it in a funny way where he's like, "Oh yeah, we all hated Sam when he first came here." Not actually.
And Sam didn't like any of them,
right? He's saying there was kind of this non-meshing of personalities because Sam Leavitt came in like he was that dude, and quite frankly, when he got here, he wasn't. Right? He had done nothing in college to warrant him being called that dude.
No, he sat on the bench at Michigan State.
But he showed up to work every single day like that dude, and once everybody kind of got to know him and see him play, they understood that there was a reason why he acted that way. Right? And let me just put this out there as well. Cam Scadaboo's a little bit older, right? Xavier Guillory's a little bit older. There are a lot of older players on this team. Sam Leavitt was born in 2004.
That's gross. That's so gross.
2004.
That's so disgusting.
He is 19 years old.
I mean, again, like you said earlier, the sky is the limit for this kid. We've already seen graphics and estimations that have Sam Leavitt as a potential 2025 Heisman candidate. We're going to get into that. We're going to take a look at how Sam compares to some of the potential quarterbacks that he could see and that Arizona State could see in the Peach Bowl. And we're going to do all of that and more on the other side of this quick break. Guys, I want to take the time to tell you about our friends over at Gila River Resorts and Casinos. Look, nobody does it better than our friends over at Gila. You can visit any of their 4 locations: Wild Horse Pass, Vequiva, Santan. The list goes on and on. I believe we are going to be having a Peach Bowl watch party.
So we're going to have a Peach Bowl watch party. Neutrals, your first neutral is on us. Get there at 10 a.m. We're going to do a pregame show live from there. We're going to do a watch-along from there as well. And for diehards only, you're going to get to join live on the watch-along.
Wow. Because
you'll be over there in
I will be in Atlanta.
But we'll be partying at Wild Horse Pass.
Look, it's always a party over at Gila River Resorts and Casinos. Also be on the lookout. Going to be hosting more events over at Gila. Cards, Suns watch parties, and more. So stay tuned on info on how you guys can come hang out with everybody here at PHNX. Enter for your chance to win the ultimate Arizona Cardinals VIP experience for you and a friend. Winners are going to enjoy 2 tickets to the San Francisco 49ers at Arizona Cardinals game in January of 2025. Plus, you're going to get on-field pregame experience, lunch at Morgan Athletic Club, meet and greet with Big Red and Cheerleaders VIP, stadium parking, and so much more. Remember, you do you at Gila River Resorts Casinos. Visit playatgila.com for more details.
It's Big 10, Big 12 football taking on each other in downtown Phoenix at a baseball field. That is unprecedented. That is the Rate Bowl in downtown Phoenix. Always hopping for the holidays. You might as well get in on all the fun. December 26th at 3:30 p.m. It's the Kansas State Wildcats taking on the Rutgers Scarlet Knights. If you got family in town, friends in town, just looking for a little vacation fun, come watch a college football bowl game in a baseball ballpark. I mean, it's pretty enticing.
Yeah.
You can get game tickets, premium experiences, and reserved parking. All of that's available right now at ratebowl.com. One more time, ratebowl.com.
Love it. Absolutely love it, guys. Make sure you hit that like button, hit the subscribe button to PHNX Sports. And of course, let's go ahead and get back into the conversation about your Arizona State Sun Devils, because the Peach Bowl does feel like a ways away.
2 million years away.
But on Saturday, we're going to have an answer as to who your Arizona State Sun Devils are going to see in that Peach Bowl. Is it going to be Clemson? Is it going to be Texas? And the bigger question, I think, is it going to be Quinn Ewers? Or is it going to be Cade, Klubnik, 2 quarterbacks that have really paved the way for their squad so far this season? Let's go ahead and take a look at what those 2 quarterbacks have done this year in comparison to Sam Leavitt. You got the total touchdown numbers here. 24 total touchdowns for Sam, 25 for Texas's Quinn Ewers, 33 for Clemson's Cade Klubnik in terms of turning the football over, INTs. Just 5 for Sam, 5 for Klubnik, 9 for Ewers. Overall quarterback rating, $159.5 for Sam Leavitt, the highest of any of these 3 quarterbacks. 148.1 for Quinn, 148 for Cade. And then the big stat here, wins. 11-1 for Sam Leavitt, 9-2 for Quinn Ewers this season, and 10-3 for Cade Klubnik.
You know what I'm seeing?
What are you seeing?
The Arizona State Sun Devils have the best quarterback. I know the touchdowns aren't really there, but I think that's more of a symptom of this offense and the scheme that it runs rather than Sam's talent level. I think if Sam wanted to throw for 30 touchdowns in an air raid offense, I think he could.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a far stretch to say that the Sun Devils should have an advantage in 2 major key positions, no matter who they play in the first round or their first round of the college football playoffs, between Cam and Sam. Yeah. Cam and Sam should be better than any running back, quarterback
Cam, Sam,
combo.
Peach Bowl, and Ham. That's what we got. That's what we got, man. Look, out of those 2 quarterbacks, and this has nothing to do with the team, okay? I want you to take the team out of this. Would you rather Arizona State's defense see Quinn Ewers, or would you rather see the Sun Devils take on Cade Klubnik?
Ooh, probably Ewers.
You want to see Ewers?
I feel like
can you tell me
you can exploit
why?
You can exploit Ewers. You can he's more turnover prone than Klubnik as well.
Quinn, yeah.
Yeah. So I think that for a team in Arizona State that has actually gained a lot of momentum and has shifted a lot of games through defensive turnovers, playing a quarterback that's more likely to be throwing that in your direction and then is less steady with the ball, more prone to make mistakes, you're going to need, especially to play against Texas. I know you said take the team out of it, but you're playing against Texas. You're going to need Quinn Ewers to make some mistakes.
Yeah.
So
no, I'm with you. I would rather see Quinn Ewers as well. The only issue that I have taking on Quinn Ewers is the fact that if they don't like the way he's playing, they'll throw in Arch Manning.
Well, but that wasn't the question, right?
You're right.
If it's Arch, then I think we're having a little bit of a different conversation.
And even then, I'm not totally afraid of Arch at this point.
Again,
he's a really young quarterback too.
Would you rather take on Arch or Ewers? I think I'd rather take Ewers.
I've been pretty firm that I would, and I know I said we're taking the team out of this. I think Texas is fine. I think Texas sets Arizona State up in a lot of ways to move on in this college football playoff bracket. But you look at the way that Quinn's played the last two games, right? They obviously lost to Georgia. He threw it 46 times, completed 58% of his passes, 358 through the air, which again, I'm not taking that, too deep into consideration when you throw it 46 times. I'd hope that you throw it all over the field like that. Only one touchdown, 2 INTs. This is a big one. He was sacked 6 times in that game. Quinn Ewers does not play well under pressure. And then the last team before Georgia that they played to close out the season, Texas A&M. Texas only scored 17 points in that game. I know they won. Quinn Ewers still didn't play great in that game. Completed 60% of his passes, 218 through the air, 1 touchdown, 1 INT. Last 2 games that he has played, 2 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. Overall, hasn't necessarily been finding his receivers. He's been getting absolutely just haunted by opposing defenses, does not stand well in the pocket under pressure. And he's mistake prone at this point. I know there's going to be a lot of Texas fans that maybe see this, that maybe disagree. But I think Clemson has a real chance to win that game on Saturday. They're playing hot, and there is no telling what a team can do when they barely sneak into a playoff by the skin of their teeth. You see it all the time in the NCAA tournament when it comes to basketball. And this is a game where, I know it hasn't been as long of a break as Arizona State is getting, but Clemson is getting a little bit of a break, just in between games, and that is huge for the health of that squad.
Yeah, I would rather, and I've said this, I would rather play Clemson. It's not a secret. I know we're talking about it more. I would rather play Clemson, but that's by no means me saying that Clemson is a non-dangerous team.
No, I think every team in the playoffs.
Yeah, I think every team in. There's something to be said about the team that kind of sticks around and wins when you're not expected to. Your last minute win against SMU, right? Like
it's your Arizona State Sun Devils.
Yeah,
that's what Clemson is, except in the ACC almost. And I'll say this with a grain of salt: Clemson is a far more established program than Arizona State. Clemson every year is expected to do what they do in the ACC. Arizona State is not. At least they haven't been in previous years. Obviously, in this conference, in the Pac-12, I think you're going to start to see a change over years. But at the end of the day, Clemson, realistically, you look at the last few weeks of the season, they didn't really have any business being in this college football playoff.
No, they didn't. And you have to give credit to their offense. Jeez, man. Come on, dude. It was 2018. You have to give credit to their offense as well, because that's the only reason they're in. And they have a high-powered offense, right? It's not their rush defense, right? It's not their overall defense.
Clemson?
No, yeah.
Right? It's Cade.
And in this college football playoff, right, in this scenario, I'm more confident in taking a high-powered offense out of their game than I am a high-powered defense. Defense travels. Arizona State's offense, I feel like as well, like I'm confident in it, but this defense has made massive big plays and has shut down some very high-powered offense with some pretty elite weapons.
Hey, saw it against Iowa State.
Right, and on a massive stage on a neutral site as well. So I think that kind of does the tiebreaker for me, especially because Clemson's run defense would get eaten up by Scat. But I at the same time, no matter the quarterback, no matter the team, I feel confident that Arizona State can advance in the college football playoffs. I think nothing would be easy. Nothing's going to be handed to them. You're not just going to walk in and blow Texas out and blow Clemson out. It'd be nice if you did.
Can you imagine?
I mean, I can. Once they blew out Iowa State, I said anything's on the table. I thought Iowa State was going to be a 1-point game. I thought it was going to be close.
That first quarter looked like it was going to be.
It did. I mean, they were down in the first quarter, and then ASU just blew them out. Like you could tell me that Arizona State blows everybody out on the way to a national championship. I could see it. It's not. I wouldn't put money on it. But
that would mean you're indulging. I think
at
a little bit too much.
At this point, I put nothing off of the table for the Arizona State Sun Devils, and that is especially true no matter Clemson or Texas.
Well, let's answer that question then. How far can Leavitt and Kenny Dillingham take Arizona State in this college football playoff? Because you're going to see either Texas or Clemson in the Peach Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
And then on the 10th, right, I believe the following Friday, you are going to see if Arizona State wins that game, which I think both of us think that Arizona State can beat Texas, and either Texas or Clemson.
Yes.
Then you are going to get the winner of Tennessee. Ohio State will play Oregon at that point. I'm taking Ohio State. So you will then play the winner of Ohio State and Oregon.
Yeah.
And the winner of that game takes on the Sun Devils. The winner of that goes to the national championship.
Yeah.
Do you see Arizona State? Like, I know there's a path, and I know we both believe that Arizona State is playing some of the best football in college sports right now.
Mm-hmm.
Do you see them actually? I know you see a path. Do you believe with your head, not your heart, that this team can take down a number one Oregon, can take down a Ohio State roster littered with $1 million players, first round picks, or even a scrappy Tennessee team?
Would I put money on it? No. Can I see it with my brain? Yeah.
No. I don't want.
No.
Can
I see it with my brain? Yeah, I do. I see it. I there is not a single team in the college football playoffs that I don't think could, in some reality, do it. Okay?
There's.
You're thinking Clemson, SMU, Boise State. Those are the three that like really come to mind.
There are two teams that I don't want to see. There are two teams that I don't think match up well against Arizona State.
And that is
Oregon.
Okay.
There's going to be storylines all week, of course, of that, right? Because, oh my God, you've got Kenny
Dan
Dillingham,
Lanning,
Marcus Arroyo,
yeah.
you've got Dan Lanning, you've got all that.
Yeah.
As much as Kenny knows Dan knows Kenny, right?
Yeah.
Because you got to remember.
I mean, that would be a really fun game.
Dan and Kenny were here together at Arizona
Yep.
State. They were at, I believe, Memphis together, right? And then they were at Oregon together. They have been all over the tape together. And I don't know if you saw it, but there was an interview that I forget who exactly it was.
I know who you're talking about. We're talking about Kenny didn't shave when he was a GA.
Well, no, they were talking about just who knows who better, right?
Oh, okay.
And
I
Kenny
didn't see
was
that.
like, there's a game that they would play where it's like, who's got the pen last? And Kenny Dillingham and Dan Lanning would go to the whiteboard, and you'd have an offensive coordinator write out what they would do, and then you'd give the pen to the defensive coordinator, and then they would have it, and then you'd go back and forth until who has the pen last, right? And they would do that for hours.
That's so
just
sick.
going back and forth.
That's so
just
sick.
a couple of football sickos going back and forth, right? So as much as I believe in the staff and this team, I think that is something that, this team hasn't seen yet. They haven't seen an opponent that knows them inside and out the way that they do, right? And not to mention, you have a team in Oregon that is pretty dang good. Would I like to see Cam Scattaboo, who was 5th in the Heisman votes, go up against a guy who did make a Heisman finalist in Dylan Gabriel? Absolutely. The other team that I do not want to see any business of right now is Notre Dame. And I know people are going to see that, and they're going to say, oh my God, it's bias. He used to cover Notre Dame, whatever. Notre Dame's defense is as good as any defense in college football. Yes, they lost to Northern Illinois at the start of the season at home. They have blown out every single opponent that they have played since then. Jeremiah Love is one of the best running backs still playing college football in the college football playoff. Not to mention, you've got a guy in Riley Leonard and Marcus Freeman at head coach. Like, this is a team that I don't want any business seeing until you get to the national championship game.
Yeah.
Those are the two teams. I think everybody else is absolutely fair game for this team.
I think so too. I even think like in a non-ideal matchup where ASU would be a heavy underdog, I still believe they could win that game. I think it's a much tougher challenge. It's very uphill, but I could see it still. I can't have any doubt that this team could beat any other team left in the college football playoffs. I can't have any of that doubt based off of what I've seen. I'm not telling you that I would put my money on it, or I'm going to stamp and say Arizona State is going to win the national championship. But based off of what we're
going to clip it right there, right at the start.
I can't count them out. I can't count them out. I can't do it. I think that they would have an overall top to bottom coaching advantage. I think Oregon is maybe the only coaching staff that you can look at and say, all right, it's close, right? Because you also have like a Rashad Samples there, right? Former Arizona State wide receivers
somebody else
coach
needs to just go hire him to be a head coach immediately. Same Houston State.
How about not anybody in like the Big 12 or anything.
No. Same Houston State. Go ahead. Go hire Rashad Samples. Do it before the college football playoff begins, and let him go do that, because that would be beautiful for Arizona State. But again, you got to take care of business. You got to take on either Texas or Clemson. Again, if you just tuned in,
one game at a time.
We are going to be doing a post-game show for that on Saturday, so definitely make sure you're subscribed to PHNX Sports for all of that. Hit that like button, and we're going to be talking about the newest amazing thing that Kenny Dillingham has been doing. We're also going to discuss Sam Leavitt as a potential 2025 Heisman candidate. Not to mention, we're going to dip our toe into the transfer portal and see what is going on. So stick around for all of that. We're going to get into it on the other side of this break.
Oh, everybody. It's time to keep it tasty. Some days you just need a drink. And can I express how much I would love a neutral right now? It's a public service announcement to all hard seltzer lovers. Neutral vodka seltzer has arrived, made with simple ingredients like just vodka, seltzer, and real juice. How ironic, your vodka seltzer is made with vodka and seltzer. It tastes good, real good. And you'll never want to drink another artificial tasting seltzer again, because there's one thing I hate in this life, it's things that are fake. Right? You don't want none of that fake stuff. They have all the real good flavors that you can get. Pineapple, watermelon, black cherry, orange. Those are great. I like those. You're a cran apple guy.
I am a cran apple guy.
That's my number 2. My number 1 is the strawberry lemonade. They have so many other fantastic flavors. Nothing goes better with your Big 12 champions. Nothing goes better with the college football playoffs than a neutral. Come to our watch party on the 1st and get a first neutral of the day on us. Keep it tasty. Enjoy responsibly. 2024 Anheuser-Busch neutral flavored vodka and carbonation out of St. Louis, Missouri.
Look, I have been out of commission for the last couple of days. I've not been feeling well. If you couldn't tell, I still don't feel like I sound very good. But my friends over at Circle K, they helped me get through it. Was there every single day, making sure that I was getting myself some electrolytes, some Gatorade Zeros in there. And they've got so much more, guys. They're America's thirst shop, and they're helping you save money every single day with the Inner Circle. It is their free membership program. It's super easy to download. Go to the App Store, download the app, enter your email and phone number to be fully enrolled. That's literally all it takes. And after that, all you're going to need is your phone number to start getting those deals. You pull up to the pump, type in your digits, and boom, you can start saving 25 cents per gallon on your first 5 fill-ups. And if that's not enough, you can save 3 cents per gallon every single day after that. Plus, there's plenty of other member-exclusive deals and discounts. You can enjoy your member-exclusive beverage deal. Inner Circle members, like, you can get any size Polar Pop or Froster for just 79 cents. Join Inner Circle for free by downloading that Circle K app today. Terms and conditions apply at participating locations. Visit CircleK.com for details. How you doing?
Just chilling.
Captain Redbeard, we haven't talked to you today. How are you? How's the ship? How's the weather? How are we steering?
A little stormy out, but we'll be all right.
We're going to be okay?
Yeah.
Love that.
We got a good crew.
We do.
Captain. So.
We do. It's all captain. It's the captain of this ship.
He's the only thing keeping it together right now.
Love it. Absolutely love it. Look, I'm going to let you decide where you want to go.
Please.
Do you want to help?
Give me some control.
Do you want to steer the ship?
I want to steer. I get to steer the ship, but actually, it's like a little play wheel. And meanwhile, Captain Redbeard's
you're right next to it. He's just.
You gave me the unplugged controller version of a steering wheel.
That's exactly what it is. Do you want to do the Heisman conversation, or do you want to do another one of Kenny's good deeds?
Good things come to those who wait. So let's wait.
We're going to wait on Kenny. Wow, we're going to wait on Kenny.
I mean, we've already talked about Sam. We're in the middle of this conversation. Let's save the really, really great thing that Kenny did today. Let's tease it. Now let people know right now. You're going to have to stick around. I want to talk about the fact that Sam Leavitt is not only a Heisman candidate for 2025.
Is he a front runner?
That MFer could win it.
Oh, yeah, he could absolutely win it. I think, and this is Brad Crawford had tweeted this a few days ago, does a lot for 24/7 Sports and CBS Sports. But this is college football's 2025 Heisman frontrunners, okay? Arch Manning, expected to take over at Texas. Lenora Sellers at South Carolina, who is an absolute dog. If you have not watched Lenora Sellers, turn on the tape. He is a big reason why South Carolina was really, really competing in the SEC at the tail end of this season. Jeremiah Smith, wide receiver over at Ohio State, really talented kid. Ryan Williams, wide receiver at Alabama.
I think he'll still only be 16 years old next year.
Yeah, Ryan Williams needs to just skip college football and just go straight to the Los Angeles Chargers. Garrett Nussmeier, quarterback for LSU. Not worried about him because Brian Kelly's a coach. And DJ Lagway, quarterback of Florida. And then, of course, you got Sam Leavitt, quarterback, Arizona State. Those are your college football 2025 Heisman frontrunners. Where do you feel like Sam figures into that conversation? Because as much as we say that Sam has done a phenomenal job and we believe and we do, there are some really good names on that list.
I mean, honestly, if we're just talking about like what is most likely to happen, he's probably near the latter half of the names that were out there, because right now so much is on Cam Scadaboo and so much attention. But given everything that we've talked about, right? We talk about him getting better, him having consistency, him having his offensive coordinator. Like, when he actually starts playing next year, I think there's a good chance 3-4 weeks into the season, it's like, all right, guys, top 4 Heisman candidates coming in at number 3, coming in at number 2. It's Sam Leavitt playing out of his mind for Arizona State. Like, that is a very real possibility here. Yeah. Because the thing with Scat was, if we entered this season, like, having some sort of semblance of success the season before, Cam Scadaboo's name might have been a fringe guy. I don't think he would have been as in it as Sam right now.
Yeah, no.
But it would have been a fringe guy. And then earlier on, you would get that. There's a chance that Sam Leavitt goes off against Texas or Clemson, right? Powers Arizona State through a or multiple rounds of the college football playoffs as their quarterback. That's the marketing campaign start right there, right? Like I think
it's already started.
I think I believe so too. It's why I already think that he's in there. I think from a play level, from a marketing standpoint, I think there's no reason to believe that at his ceiling, 3 to 4 weeks into the season, he could be considered one of the Heisman frontrunners.
Yeah, I agree. And then, like I said, there are some really talented names on this list. I think for me, looking at this list right now, and we know this now more than ever, there's 4 Heisman finalists, okay? I think Sam Leavitt is going to be a fringe Heisman finalist. I don't think Garrett Nussmeier and I don't think DJ Lagway, the quarterbacks respectively at LSU and Florida, are going to be in the Heisman. Now, things can change. I think you're looking at Ryan Williams, Sam Leavitt, Jeremiah Smith, Lenore Sellers, and Arch Manning.
Okay.
One of those guys is not going to be a finalist.
Yeah.
I'm curious who you think is the odd man out.
Say it again.
Arch Manning, quarterback Texas.
He's going to get in from name alone.
Exactly. As long as Texas has a decent season.
Yeah, and as long as he's okay. Yeah. He's going to get like the Dylan Gabriel award.
Lenore Sellers, South Carolina. He's an SEC quarterback. Yeah. They love themselves some SEC quarterback.
It does depend on how good that team is, though.
Yeah, that's fair. Jeremiah Smith, Ohio State wide receiver, a dog, absolute dog.
And I think Ryan Williams will be there.
Ryan Williams, dog.
It's Arizona State and South Carolina. It's who's better. What team's better? Is it Sellers or Leavitt? Like I think that's where it comes down to. I think you could very clearly see Sam Leavitt in there, but yes, South Carolina being SEC, if they have a good season, if they're competing at the top of the SEC and he's putting up insane numbers, he'll be there, right? To pretend like there's not a world where Sam Leavitt doesn't make the Heisman finalists is just being a little dull, right? But I think the fact that you can legitimately talk about the potential there and legitimately talk about like, hey, I see the path for Sam Leavitt. And hey, guess what? Redshirt sophomore next year. Do you know what that means?
He could come back again.
He could come back again. And I think if he does, at that point, he would be...
Yeah, I think if he
would be top 3.
If he balls out next year and then comes back, yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely. He's in it, right? And it's hard to look that far ahead, but take solace in the fact that he's in it.
Yeah.
An Arizona State quarterback is already being considered as a Heisman candidate for next year. Well, they haven't even played their college football playoff game that this guy's going to be starting.
Yeah, they're practicing with Santa Baby going on.
Santa Baby.
It was the weirdest thing ever, and I had someone come up to me, and they were like, you in the Christmas spirit? I'm like, this is crazy that they're playing this. And he's like, well, they've never had games in December before, so our practice is this late in December, so here you go.
Yeah, SB, if he wins a Heisman,
I think if he has a baller year next year, he might just go pro anyways.
I mean, yeah, he might do it.
One thing I also want to talk about is if you combine Lenore Sellers and Sam Leavitt with their names, they've got some of the best names ever. You could have Lenore Leavitt or Sam Sellers. Those are some of the best names. Lenore Leavitt goes crazy.
Lenore Leavitt is like a really weird fringe like baseball prospect.
Lenoris Leavitt.
Lenoris Leavitt plays third base in the Colorado Rockies minor system.
What does Sam Sellers do?
Sam Sellers
is a wine guy.
No. Well, yeah. I mean, if we're going off the name, Sam Sellers is a feisty point guard for a 14 seed in March Madness. It's Sam Sellers for 3.
Yeah, it's got like a weird 30-point, 14 assist
He has a
game.
massive bald spot on the back of his head.
Yeah.
But he's like, Sam Sellers with his 4th steal of the game.
He's like Matthew Dellavedova.
Yes.
Yeah, that's the type of player
for
he
Norfolk State. Mike Vick's new home, by the way.
Yeah, that's also crazy.
That is crazy.
Michael Vick is a head football coach.
Yeah, Mike Vick, Deion Sanders, and Bill Belichick are all head coaches at college football programs.
All to try and beat Kenny Dillingham.
Yeah, it's like the Avengers getting together to stop Thanos, except for this time Thanos is a good guy.
Yeah, he's going to... It's just like that. He's inevitable.
Just like that.
Kenny Dillingham is inevitable.
Kenny Dillingham is inevitable.
He's also a good guy.
We're going there now?
We might as well. Unless you have any other final thoughts on Sam, Super Sam.
He's pretty good at football.
He is, I would go a step further and say he's really good at football.
I'm really glad that he's the quarterback for the Arizona State Sun Devils.
Yeah, I think I am too.
And I'm confident and hopeful that continues to be the case.
That's fair. Let's get to Kenny's good deed. Kenny's good deed of the day, I feel like could be a segment.
Cool. This is so cool.
So Arizona State still in the midst of practices, right? Obviously for the Peach Bowl. And out there at practice, you have now FCS coaches, NAIA coaches, D2 coaches, and D3 coaches. So you may be asking yourself, what the hell are all of these coaches doing at Arizona State's Peach Bowl practice? Well, Kenny wanted to invite them out. That way they can get a look at a couple things. A, how the program functions, right? Mm-hmm. Trying to build up college football, build up some of these young coaches, let them see what, kind of preparation goes into stuff like this. Mm-hmm. Also, it is a phenomenal opportunity for some of these, lower level schools to take a look at some of Arizona State's walk-ons, take a look at some of their 4 deep, 5 deep guys that never really see the field, that wouldn't see the field for quite some time, in an effort to almost be like a tryout for some of these other FCS schools, some of these D2 schools, so that they can find their best opportunity.
Yeah.
And you get a couple things out of it, right? You are getting a deepened relationship with all of these coaches, which you never know, right? We talk about Arizona State players potentially going to some of these smaller schools. You see all the time some of these smaller school players jump up, right? To have those relationships is huge. But to also go out of your way and you're getting now these 3 deep, 4 deep guys practicing just so dang hard, man. And you're doing it in the midst of prepping for a massive college football playoff game. Like, you're getting guys that aren't even seeing the field to go 120, 130%. And you're doing it while you're in the midst of transfer portal season.
Yeah.
Right? You got guys coming out, watching practices, doing all these types of things that only 12 teams are doing right now in college football.
Yeah, that's crazy. The way, I don't know why, but that kind of hit me hard. What Arizona State is preparing for right now, what they are doing, there are 12.
Practicing.
There are teams practicing for a bowl
I guess
game,
that's fair. Yeah.
but there are 12 teams practicing for the college football playoffs, for the games that actually matter.
Yeah. Think about it. We talk about the NCAA tournament all the time, right? You've got the round of 32, the Sweet 16, the Elite 8. If Arizona State wins, they're going to be a part of the Elite 8 in college football.
They're already part of the Elite 12.
And honestly, they're further than that because they don't even have to play this first game.
No, they don't. Pretty good. Anyway, back to what Kenny said, there's so many layers to that as well. Kenny was nominated for an award about, being great and a kind person, off the field, and being great on the field as well. Like, he should win that award as well. He is the epitome of gets it.
Yeah.
Because the dude just gets it, and it doesn't come from a selfish sense. Like, there are a lot of selfish benefits. The same way that you're kind to people when they leave in the transfer portal, right? There's no selfish intent or desire when Kenny Dillingham does that. But the reason why I paint the picture like this is because in a world where sometimes it seems so easy to just do the wrong thing, most of the time, if you do the right thing, it's going to pay off for you in the long run, right? If you're opening up your practice to FCS coaches and to, lower level D2, D3, NAIA schools, right, for their benefit, to better their programs,
to help the sport,
to help your players. Again, your players who are helping you get and play in the college football playoffs. You are actively auditioning them to find a better spot for their future. That's the least selfish thing. But at the same time, like, again, hey, NAIA school, oh, you got this player. Now this player is going up to a D2 to a D1, low-level D1. Oh, well, I've been keeping an eye on them because I've had a relationship with you since whenever.
Yeah.
Right? And I think part of that is his age, because I think at a certain point when you get old enough, you get like a little jaded. Right. You get a little bit closed off, fair. A little set in your ways. I think the beauty with having a coach so young is that they're so malleable and so like open to these types of ideas. And I know I take shots at Dabo Swinney, but like, I don't think that there's a world where Dabo Swinney wakes up and says, let me invite an FCS school to come watch us practice. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe that's happened, but like, I don't see that. Right. But you would not find me surprised if 6, 7, 8 months from now, we start hearing about similar things like this, because it's a good idea that it benefits everybody.
Yeah. You've already started to see it on social media with coaches trying to take the Dilly approach in terms of letting players go and wishing them nothing but the best.
Right. And it's like, oh, well, that's not a Kenny thing. You know, that's a common sense thing. It wasn't a common sense thing until Kenny did it.
Yeah.
Right. And I'm hoping he can continue to be ahead of that trend.
And this is the thing that, like, because Kenny is a prominent figure in the state of Arizona, right, and in college sports, it always is going to look like it is being done for the wrong reasons, right? It's always going to look like he's doing it for major attention, right? We are telling you this. The university hasn't made a statement about this. Kenny hasn't talked about this, to my knowledge. Like, this is something that is happening that, in all honesty, if no one said anything, you would never know. You'd never know that Kenny's going out of his way to ensure, A, that his potential players that are on the roster that are never going to see the field here, at least not for years, are still doing, everything possible to really prolong their football life, right? And then B, to really try and change the sport, to help the sport grow. Because how often do you see these D2, D3, FCS schools, NAI schools, they're on the wrong side of this time of year because of the transfer portal, because of NIL. You never see it. And now you're getting the opportunity to, again, you are one of 12 teams in the college football playoff, and you have a coach in just the second year who could very easily close off practice to media. He could close off practice to anybody because you want to keep everything in-house. And he's taking the opposite approach of, you know what? I'm still going to do what I believe in because I believe that this is what's best for the sport. I believe that this is what's best for the most amount of people possible. And he doesn't bat an eye when it comes to this.
Yeah.
It's almost like every time you hear about something like this, you're like, how can this guy be real?
Do you want to know where it comes from? A place of security.
Yeah.
If Kenny Dillingham was insecure in what he was doing, he'd be hiding it.
Yeah.
But he's secure in his process and what he does and his long-term approach. It just makes sense. You know what else makes sense timing-wise? Hall monitor here, baby.
There it is.
I couldn't get through a show without throwing it to our final ad break.
Guys, yes, we've talked about the Peach Bowl, but let's go ahead. Let's take a second and talk about the Fiesta Bowl because it is here in the Valley, and you're going to have yourself one heck of a matchup. Viva the fans, Viva New Year's Eve, and Viva a new era of college football. The Verbo Fiesta Bowl is going to host the first playoff quarterfinal in history. That means the road to the College Football National Championship goes through the Fiesta Bowl on December 31st at 5:30 in the afternoon. You got the 3 seed Boise State set to take on the winner of SMU and Penn State. You are bound to have one heck of a college football playoff matchup and environment. Don't miss the epic pregame Fan Fest block party featuring live entertainment, fun games, food, beverages, and more. Then witness college football history, all while securing priority for future college football playoff games. Join them for the first ever college football playoff quarterfinal at the Verbo Fiesta Bowl. Buy your tickets, reserve parking, and premium experiences at fiestabowl.org/tickets. And of course, Viva Fiesta.
You know what goes great with the Fiesta Bowl?
A parade.
A Fiesta Bowl parade. How did you know? It can't be that we're looking at the same ad sheet. There's just no way.
No
I know
shot.
Deep down you knew that it was time for history, tradition, innovation, pageantry, and fun with the 53rd annual Verbo Fiesta Bowl Parade, presented by Lerner & Rowe. It's a free event. We love FREE over here at PHNX. public, family-friendly. On December 28th, colorful floats, balloons, community groups, and marching bands will march through Central Phoenix. Plus, you'll see a big name and big play Grand Marshal, ASU, and Mesa Wrestling champion Anthony Robles. Subject to the upcoming movie Unstoppable, would highly, highly recommend making the Fiesta Bowl Parade a part of your holiday plans. Join us in person on Saturday, December 28th at 10 a.m. or maybe you like doing some things from home, right? Watch it all happen live on AZ Family 3 TV. For the parade route and more information, check fiestabowl.org/parade. It's a fun time. It's a good time. Time to celebrate for the holidays. Just 10 days away, the Fiesta Bowl Parade.
Love it. All right, you want to dip our toe into the portal for a second?
I'll dip.
All right, so I know that you talked about the UCF tight end.
I did.
The other day. He was on a visit. A couple other visits. This is Chris Cartman's reporting for 24/7 Sports. Adrian Wilson, redshirt freshman safety at Washington State, fourth on the Cougars team in tackles. He was on a visit to Arizona State. He's spending time with former Washington State cornerback Javen Robinson. Of course, all these guys on visits usually get paired up with somebody that was in a similar situation. Kind of perfect that you're gonna have a guy that was in the secondary for Washington State, along with another guy that succeeds here and also went to Washington
Plug and play.
State, which again, be massive. You know, of course, Cole Martin entering the portal. You've seen safeties dip down to nickel before. Arizona State's going to have a need at nickel corner going into next season. You also have another guy, a big one, Oregon sophomore defensive end, Amarian Winston, on an official to ASU as well. Again, this is per Chris Cartman of Sun Devil Source. He played 244 snaps as a backup this season for the Ducks, listed at 6'4", 255 pounds.
Off name alone, get him in this building as soon as possible.
Would be huge. Would be absolutely huge. Yeah, I mean, to add anybody from Oregon is massive. Is absolutely massive. And again, I'm noticing there are people that are big on Deuce Robinson, that want him to come to ASU. I'm not saying that he's not going to come to Arizona State, but he does have, or at least at the time, had official visits lined up with Florida State and Texas A&M. So take that for what you will.
Cha-ching.
I'm not saying that he's not going to commit to Arizona State, but there are other schools definitely in play, as there are for a majority of these guys.
I mean, I'll tell you what, if he commits to Arizona State, that man really wants to be here.
Yeah, no, he does. He absolutely
not
does.
That ASU is not, better in NIL than they were a year ago today. There's a difference between the sandboxes that those programs are playing in.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right.
They got money.
Give me one name in the portal that you want.
I mean, I think it not to be basic, I think it would be Deuce.
Oh, you want Deuce?
I want Deuce because of the moment of it all, the come home part of it, right? I think he would be incredible on the field.
Coming home.
Coming home.
But how's that song go?
Tell the world I'm coming home.
To the place.
Let the rain
wash away. Take it away, Captain Redbeard.
Oh, every tear.
Yesterday.
Yeah, that's definitely in there.
I'm coming home. Tell the world I'm coming home. I just know that part.
It's a great song. It's a phenomenal song.
I think if you're able to get Deuce, you're able to drop a Deuce in the transfer portal.
Drop a Deuce in the portal, dude.
That's crazy.
That's crazy. Potty. The portal potty?
USC
We're dropping a Deuce in the portal potty?
USC dropped a Deuce in the portal potty.
Dear Lord.
That's pretty good. I think that's all the analysis that I have.
Well, you could keep your Deuce. I want to take another USC wide receiver.
Branch?
Give me Zechariah Branch in the transfer portal. If Zechariah Branch and his brother
gotta include the brother.
Come to Arizona State.
Gotta include the brother.
Arizona State is winning back-to-back Big 12 titles. I'm telling you that right now. Zechariah Branch is that level of player. If you've had the poor, what's the word? If you've had the displeasure of watching USC football this season, then you know that there have been few bright spots. And USC players would probably tell you that. Zechariah Branch has been a bright spot. Zechariah Branch is one of the most dynamic speedsters, wide receivers in college football as it stands right now. He is an absolute difference maker. Special teams, wide receiver. You get a guy like Zechariah Branch in the portal to play in the slot, to play opposite Jordan Tyson, play opposite Malik McClain, play opposite of any of the other potential wide receivers that will come to Arizona State, because there will be more. It's not just it's not just Nobles. It's not just the Clemson guy coming. this offense will be unstoppable.
That's a Heisman offense.
It is. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Sam Leavitt can't win the Heisman by himself.
Zechariah Branch in this offense.
And don't forget Zion.
Oh, my God.
Don't forget Zechariah and Zion Branch.
Would go.
I mean, talk about all-time
Would
names.
go crazy. Zechariah Branch in this offense would be crazy, dude. Glenn in the chat. We can replace Deuce with Hamper, Noble, and maybe Moss and Zechariah.
Moss would be great, too.
Moss would be great, too.
Jalen Moss, actually.
Okay, we're going to play a little game where it's called you get to pick who's starting at wide receiver.
Oh, yeah.
It needs a new name.
Okay, but I like that name. Straight to the point.
Jordan Tyson.
Okay.
Malik McLean.
Okay.
Noble.
Okay.
Zechariah Branch.
Okay.
Jalen Moss. You can start 3.
3. McLean's out.
Tyson starting.
Tyson, Branch, and Moss.
So Noble and McLean coming off the
Correct.
bench.
I would have Noble last.
Noble last.
I would have Noble
Any
last.
particular reason?
No.
Just a younger guy.
Younger guy, hasn't really proved a lot. And it's the same thing with Malik McLean, where he hasn't played a lot this season, but Malik's been in the system. I've seen him come up big. He might play some more in the college football playoffs.
He will play more in the college football playoffs. You'll see a lot of Malik McLean in the college
big body,
football playoffs.
different type of build as well. Now,
what if you threw in Deuce?
Noble 6'2". You throw Deuce in there, then you bump. It's probably
You're going.
It's Tyson, Branch, Deuce.
Yeah.
And then but that way you're
probably not getting Jalen Moss.
You're not getting Jalen Moss if you get Deuce Robinson and Zechariah Branch. You're not you can't. There's not enough love to go around in that sense. There's not, because you also might get honestly, Kanye from Army. It'd be nice to get him if we're like picking, like he would be the heir apparent. Like I love Kyson, but he'd be clear running back 1 if he got here. But I'm confident with Kyson. Give me Tyson, give me Deuce, give me Branch, and then Noble, McLean,
Moss.
And no, Moss. That's the thing, is you have to pick one or the other. You can't have all of them.
Give me all of them. Give me all of the wide receivers.
I mean, I'll take it.
I don't think, again, this is just, take this for what you will.
No.
I'm not saying that Arizona State is going to get Zechariah Branch by any means. I'm not saying that.
Doesn't he have a no contact tag
in the portal?
Or is that a different USC player?
Yeah, it might be. I have no idea.
Sorry.
You gonna check on that one?
I'm just really researching right now.
Zechariah Branch, like I said, is a difference maker who I think would fit beautifully in this offense with what Marcus Arroyo and company want to do. I'm not saying he's going to come here, but that would certainly be a name to keep an eye on. If you remember correctly, Zechariah Branch was offered by Arizona State some time ago. I believe Zechariah's first offer came from Antonio Pierce.
Awesome.
Antonio Pierce. So
what a guy.
We will see. We'll see what happens with that. Again, I do not think that Deuce Robinson will commit to Arizona State, but you never know. You never know what kind of tricks Dilly can pull out of his hat. He's pulled out a Heisman level candidate in Sam Leavitt, a Heisman level candidate in Cam Scatterboo, a 11-win football team, a Big 12 title, and a college football playoff appearance. Well, I don't expect Zechariah or Deuce to come here either. But
I'm dropping a Deuce, baby. Drop a like if you're also dropping a Deuce.
Dear Lord. I mean, please don't, actually. If you're dropping a Deuce.
You're dropping a Deuce right now.
With too much Deuce
You haven't
talk.
hit this like button, you got too much time on your hands.
I guess that's fair. Glenn in the chat saying, Tyson, Zechariah, Moss, McLean, and Samples on the bench.
I was thinking of Samples, the coach. I was like, he's gone, dude.
Yeah. But you got Zechariah, Sample. You got 2 Zechariahs on the team.
That's true.
And you throw in Shimon, dude, we're winning the Natty.
I mean, yeah.
Natty, just give us a trophy.
That's best offense in the country vibes.
I'm telling you right now, I firmly believe this. If Zechariah Branch comes to Arizona State, they're winning the Big 12 again next year.
Yeah. Even if he doesn't.
He said that one,
Stamp
not me.
it.
Guys, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, drop a 5-star review wherever you get your podcast. Erik, anything else before we hop out of here, man?
Love all of you. That's it.
That's all you got?
I love all of you.
Guys, if you enjoyed the content, do us a solid again. Hit that like button, hit the subscribe button. Make sure you drop a 5-star review. We really, really do appreciate it. It does mean a lot to us. Want to say happy holidays to everybody, of course. And if you enjoy the content, you can follow the show at PHNX _Sun Devils. You can follow me at Anthony _Totri. You can follow this guy right here at Erik Ruby. That is Erik with a K. You can follow the captain of this beautiful vessel at K Coop Sports. That is, of course, Captain Redbeard, and we will be back in action tomorrow on Thursday, and then you won't see us until we have the live watch-along for Clemson and Texas. But hope everybody has a beautiful rest of the day. And as always, go Devils. Peace.
We all silly like the mayor.